Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to do something really fun. We're going to make a totally refined sugar-free apple butter. And this recipe is just really special to me because it's so wholesome. It's so easy. The key is just a low temperature and long cook time. We're gonna put it in the Instant Pot on the low, slow cook setting, and we're just gonna let it go all day and all night on low. You could even get away with keep warm overnight. And this is just going to take the apples from applesauce into caramelized perfection. I like to add a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of maple syrup maybe, and then can it, and we have delicious apple goodness all winter long. So all we need is some apples, and I say seconds because I save the first quality, the blemishless perfect apples. I save those for storage. So I've got a sizable box of first quality apples in my cold pantry right now, and those will last a couple months just in my cold pantry. It stays in the 50-degree range usually. Someday I dream of having a root cellar, but right now I just have a room on the side of the house that we keep sealed up and unheated, and it stays pretty cool in the winter. So I've got my bacon hanging in there, I've got the potatoes, some of those root cellar crops are in there right now, and they do pretty well. So the apples will store in the pantry for probably 2 months before they start to get a little squishy. But anything that already was a little bit bruised or maybe had a little nick or a little scabbing, those are the seconds. They will spoil faster. So I took some of those for pressing, and the rest of them are going to turn into apple butter. So all you need to do for this recipe is take your apples, and we're gonna chop them up. Now, if you would like, you could peel them. If you have a core or peeler slicer, that would be super efficient and easy. I do not have one. I have yet to decide if I will invest in one. Chop them up. We're gonna take our cores and pop them in a gallon jar. This is a pickle jar. If you know anybody who buys pickles in the gallon, that's a great way to get a nice glass jar. I make pickles, and so I don't buy pickles. But if you go by a restaurant, or if you have anybody you know buys pickles in the gallon jars, they make great jars for fermenting and dry storage. So all we're gonna do is chop them up, and like I said, if you have the core peeler slicer and you take the skin off, put the skin in with the cores as well, and then you could do pretty large chunks if you take the skin off. You would really need to slice it like the size you would for eating, like finger-sized slices would be fine if you take the skin off. I'm gonna leave the skin on, so I'm gonna chop them up a little finer because I don't want really big pieces of skin in my finished apple butter, but I don't mind a little texture, so I usually opt to keep the skin on. I just don't mind a little texture that it gives. So all we're gonna do is dice these up. And as we get them diced, we're gonna add them to a slow cooker. Now, I'm using the Instant Pot, and it has a slow cook setting low, medium high, and it has a keep warm function. So what I'm gonna do is let it go on slow cook low for the rest of today, and then overnight I'll switch it to keep low just so I don't have any scorching while I'm sleeping. And then in the morning I'll turn it on to slow cook low again, and I just let it go until it cooks down to a deep brown caramely color. It will go past the applesauce stage and start to caramelize, and it makes a delicious thick creamy spread for pancakes. I like to put it in hand pies, sandwiches, seriously anything you can eat it with a spoon. You could optionally add a little splash of maple syrup, some honey, a little cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever seasonings float your boat. Little splash of apple cider vinegar if your apples aren't very tart and you want a little bit more of that tartness to come through. It's really versatile. You can do any optional add-ins that suit your taste, and just taste it while it's cooking because that's what it will taste like. And when it's finished cooking, if you'd like to can it, that's super simple. All you're gonna do is put them in your jars, leave your ½ inch of headspace, and water bath can for 5 minutes. And then it's shelf stable for a year. Optionally, if you make a small batch and you don't wanna go through water bath canning, just stick it in the fridge and it's good for a week or 2 in the fridge.